let's talk about a 9-digit number. It's not a social security number, but it unlocks this massive parallel financial world right here inside the United States. You see, this isn't just some number for paying taxes. No, it's the key to an entire shadow economy, one that's operating in plain sight. So think about this. What 9-digit number allows millions of people to file their taxes, get a car loan, open a checking account, and even start building a credit history, all without the one thing most of us assume is essential for any financial life? Well, the answer is the ITIN. Officially, it's called the Individual Taxpayer Identification Number, or ITIN for short. The IRS created it way back in 1996 for a really simple reason: to give people who couldn't get a social security number a way to file their taxes. But as you're about to see, what it's become is something the IRS probably never saw coming. To really get how this all works, we've got to look at the number itself first. I want you to think of it like a very specific key, one that's designed to fit a very particular lock in the American financial system. And the dead giveaway? It's simple. Every single ITIN starts with the number 9. That's the telltale sign. I mean, it looks almost exactly like a social security number. It's got 9 digits, same format, but that leading 9 is the crucial little detail that sets it apart. All right, so if this thing is a key, how do you even get one? And what was it originally designed to unlock? Well, the process is surprisingly straightforward, and it all starts and ends with the IRS. This right here, this is the gateway, IRS Form W-7. And here's the really critical part you have to understand. You can't just apply for an ITN whenever you feel like it. The IRS requires you to submit this application along with a completed federal tax return. It's basically your way of proving you have a legitimate tax reason for needing the number in the first place. So the whole process really just boils down to these 3 steps. You fill out that W-7 form, you provide official documents like your passport to prove who you are and that you have foreign status, and then you mail the whole package in with your tax return. Simple as that. Okay, and this part highlights a detail that isn't obvious but is hugely important. When you're dealing with something as vital as your passport, the absolute last thing you want to do is stick the original in an envelope and just hope it comes back. That's why knowing the difference between a regular acceptance agent and a certified acceptance agent is so critical. A CAA can actually certify your documents, which means you get to hang on to your originals. It's a tiny detail that makes a world of difference. Now, originally, the whole point was just to file taxes. That's it. But this is where the story of the ITIN just explodes way beyond anything the IRS ever planned. A whole financial ecosystem has literally sprung up around this 9-digit number. This quote, it really says everything you need to know. Financial institutions, especially credit unions, looked out and saw this huge, underserved market. And instead of seeing a roadblock, they saw a massive opportunity. So they started actively creating products specifically for ITIN holders. And just look at what this has unlocked. We're not talking about a basic checking account here. We're talking auto loans, credit cards, personal loans, even mortgages. The ITIN has effectively become a key to building a real financial life in America, letting people buy a car to get to work or start building that all-important credit history. But, as you can probably guess, this rapid expansion has created a fundamental conflict. The ITIN system has accidentally become this sort of de facto economic integration policy, and it's running in direct opposition to official immigration policy. It has created a system that is literally at war with itself. Think about it. On one hand, you have the IRS. Their mission is crystal clear: collect taxes. They want every single person earning money in the U.S. to file a return and pay what they owe. The ITIN is their #1 tool for that. But on the other hand, you have immigration enforcement, and their mission could not be more different. The very same person the IRS sees as a compliant taxpayer, immigration enforcement might see in a very, very different light. So what's stopping one government agency from just picking up the phone and calling the other? Well, it's this right here. Internal Revenue Code Section 6103. This law creates a powerful privacy shield, and it generally forbids the IRS from sharing taxpayer information with other federal agencies, including for immigration enforcement. But that privacy shield is the source of a really intense debate. This quote is from a Treasury Inspector General report. They're basically the IRS's internal watchdog. And they argue that this exact firewall is what prevents the government from being able to connect the dots. It just perfectly highlights the deep institutional tension that's at play here. And these numbers, they show you exactly why the IRS is so invested in this program. Just in 2019, ITIN filers contributed nearly $6 billion in taxes. So, from a purely financial perspective, the ITIN program is a massive win for the US Treasury. So let's bring this all back to the individual. For the person who actually holds the ITIN, this isn't some theoretical policy debate. No, this is a very real, high stakes calculation of risk versus reward. It's a tough balancing act. On one side, the potential rewards are huge. The ability to get tax refunds, to build credit, to create an official record of your economic contributions. But on the other side, the risks are just as real. Your original passport could get lost in the mail. There are rare exceptions to that privacy shield. And filing a tax return that shows you worked could potentially draw unwanted attention. This quote from an ITIN filer named Ernesto just captures the hope that drives this decision perfectly. It's not just about following the law today. It's a strategic bet, a bet that creating a paper trail of contributions will actually matter tomorrow, maybe in some future immigration proceeding. And all of this leaves us with a much bigger question. The ITIN is a patch, right? It's a workaround that has accidentally evolved into this parallel system for economic inclusion. It's an unofficial policy born from the friction between economic reality and legal status. So, what does the very existence of this system reveal about who really gets to participate in the American economy, and on what terms?